What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about life skills, and I thought this would be a fun thing to do. We're going to do a life skill tier list for silver, and yeah, so for all of you new players out there or people thinking about trying out life skills, because let's say you started the game and all you do is grind and you're thinking about trying something different, there's a lot of things to do in this game, and a lot of life skills are connected to each other in one way or the other. For example, like you gather, you fish, you hunt, you get raw materials, you turn it into cooking, and alchemy, process all those materials, turn them into other stuff, make gear. So a lot of life skills are connected in a way, but for people who just want to make silver and, you know, try something else, I wanted to go over every life skill, but also we are going to be doing a tier list of all of this stuff. So this is just what I found, and I'm gonna rate them by, like, you know, a few categories: silver and fun and easy to learn, and also, you know, something that's, like, you know, not too complicated to get into. All right, so let's go down the list. There's 11 life skills, and I'm going to be talking about it as of, you know, September 2025. So if you're watching this a year later or something, things could be different. And yeah, so alchemy, this is a very useful life skill because it makes elixirs into harmonies along with all the perfumes and everything. So for endgame players, this is something you'll definitely be glad that people do, because you are using harmonies every hour, or deep seas, courages, and everything. So it's definitely profitable. However, I don't think it's the easiest life skill to get into, because you have to get all the materials and then turn it into, you know, different elixirs, combine the elixirs. It's kind of like cooking, but a little bit more complicated. And also in the game, you know how if you do cooking, you have mass cooking. Alchemy doesn't have that for some reason. It's 2025, they should just have it. So with that said, I think it's a very strong life skill. People should definitely learn it. And especially for all of you who are looking to get light stones and everything, you can start crafting from Guru 1. So with that said, I am going to put, you know, alchemy in A. It's not the most profit, especially if we're talking about Imperial alchemy versus Imperial cooking. The margins aren't as large. So with that said, hold on, let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So yeah, it's good, but it's very complicated to get into, and the profit margins are a little bit different. Also, it's more time consuming simply because it doesn't have mass alchemy, kind of like cooking does. So yeah, definitely something to work on, especially if you plan on grinding a lot as well. You need all the elixirs and everything. I have videos on how to do all of that, but the hard truth is it's not a beginner friendly one. It's just something you have to do in the future. All right, so next life skill. This one is bartering. So this one is one of the newer life skills that they added in with sailing. And by newer, I mean, like, it's something that wasn't in the game originally. However, this is kind of like trading, but in the ocean. So to give you an idea, let me show you how it works. All right, we're going into the game right now. So bartering, this is how it works. You have your boat, right? And you have a bunch of materials. Let's say you put all your materials in here. You categorize them by different, you know, tiers, I guess, level 1 to level 5. So you get a level 1 material, turn it into a level 2, 2 to 3, and so on. And then what you do is basically you exchange them in the ocean. See all these barter points? So what you would do is, let's say you have the barter icon, you could sort them by how many you have, the grades, and the way you turn it into silver is, let's say you exchange materials that you would use for anything, and then you get level 5s, which are in the ocean, which is Margoria. You could turn them into these level 5 ones, and then you sell them for silver. Or you could get the other level 5s and then exchange them. Or you can also go for crow coins and or other things such as like, you know, other materials you need as well. Boat parts. There's two different barters. ocean, crow coins, and normal. So what you would do if you were to refresh them, you could do this one. Ship materials if you're going for your carrack or your other boat, like, you know, the new ones from Morning Light. And then trade items are these. So to give you an idea, that's what bartering is. And do I think it's fun? Yeah, I think it's a it's a something you do when you're partially AFK. So what is a good time to do it? I would say is like, let's say you are doing something and you have like 5 or 10 minutes of downtime and you come back, and so it's like semi AFK. It's definitely fun. Back in the day when making like 1 bill or, you know, 1 to 2 billion a day was considered the norm, it was definitely competitive. However, with the new grind spots these days, it kind of fell off. So the reason why people do bartering ocean bartering these days is mostly just to go for your carrack and everything. So the money definitely fell off, but it's definitely a semi AFK activity. Let's say you are watching a movie or something on your next monitor or stream, you could just auto path your boat from point A to B and C, and then you just get things done. So ultimately, right now, I would probably put bartering at a C tier, just simply because it's if you're doing it for the boat, that's great, but anything else for profit, it's not so good. All right, so hunting. There are 2 types of hunting in this game. Let me go show you guys this one. All right, so if you don't do hunting, basically there's 2 types. You have sniper rifle hunting, and then there's matchlock hunting. In my opinion, if you're trying to level up hunting, like let's say beginner all the way to guru, matchlock hunting is probably the best way, whereas if you're going for silver, sniper hunting is definitely the way to go. And in my opinion, this one is not really beginner friendly because it requires a little bit of investment if you just want to get through it fast. And by that, I mean, like, so right here it says you can use a master matchlock starting at Artisan 10. You have to get to Artisan 10. So then what you would do is, if you were looking for a hunting rifle, you would go to like Artisan. And so as a beginner, you don't necessarily have to do the beginner tier. You can go directly up into Artisan Matchlock with 400 mastery. Luckily, they made it easier these days by adding the hunting bag, and then you can just get directly like, you know, 300, 400 very easily just by the clothes and everything. So it does require a little bit of an investment before you actually get into it. But once you do that, there are 2 different spots. So let me show you. Oh god, hold on. Okay, so Odraxia. The best place to go normal hunting is probably Narcion. There's a lot of enemies nearby, so leveling it up is, you know, significantly easier. I would recommend this one from beginner all the way to like guru if you wanted to. It's not so much a silver, but you get the materials for like house furniture buffs, and then, you know, it's a little bit of gathering as well. But also, if you wanted to go down into sniper rifle hunting, it's down here. I wish they would make the icon a little bit different because it's like it kind of blends in. But if you're doing sniper rifle hunting, down by Umugi, there's the wild game that's like overlapping the Umugi boss. So the wild sniper hunting, this one is actually a lot more fun, actually, believe it or not. And I plan on doing a video at some point, but I don't think I'm that good enough to make a guide for it, but I can tell you the basics of it. So either way, yeah, there's 2 different kinds of hunting, normal, matchlock, and then sniper. It does require a little bit of investment, but it's like gathering, but more specific targeting of certain materials, and you get a bunch of them. And then also it gives you like a bunch of other stuff that you can make for furnitures that's exclusive. So for example, if you go to manufacturing, you see all these like guild things, the stuff, house furnishing and furniture that everyone uses for decorations and all this stuff, like this thing that gives AP. It's definitely worth it. So with that said, where would I put sniper rifle hunting? I would put it in S rank. Hunting is very good. It's just, it takes a little bit of effort to learn. It's not super beginner friendly, but it makes a lot of silver, and that's what this tier list is for. Okay, so next we have cooking. Now, cooking is one of those things that's easy to learn and hard to master and requires a lot of knowledge and repetition to actually learn, simply because there's like thousands of recipes, and then, you know, there's imperial cooking, which is actually very profitable if you do it every day for like a 2-minute activity. And basically, here's how you do it. Let me show you in game. All right, so we're going in game. So how does imperial crafting work? You do imperial cooking or alchemy. You do the highest tier box you can. I'd recommend Guru. Powering yourself to Guru is very easy these days, and you can deliver a certain amount of materials. This number is your contribution points divided by 2, and then you turn it in. It's basically tax-free, so it gives you this and then multiplied by your mastery. So that's why if you have like the ladle and then the cooking slows and then consort and just basically anything that gives you more mastery, you make more silver an hour. And one thing that I've always talked about in my other videos is when it comes to nodes and network setup, get the things that are annoying to gather and just have your workers do it. And then over time, you just start building your like material pile for all of your stuff. And then it'll become easier to learn how to cook stuff. Things that are used really commonly are obviously cron meals, because whether you're a Lifeskiller, PvPer, or PvEer, you're going to be using that. But also, it's very helpful for people who are just trying to boost up contribution points. You just cook stuff. And so, like, for myself, everyone needs to recover their workers. I made 1.5 million grilled bird meat that I don't think I'll ever run out of. The reason why we did that is because, you know, chicken meat is a very common material. And also, it's easy to get contribution points out of that. You just exchange the byproduct for cooking XP. You do this for every life skill, but cooking is the way to do it, because you can mass cook, or like, what is it? I guess mass cooking, which allows you to do it faster than alchemy can. So that's why I would recommend that. So in terms of silver, I think cooking is an S tier. The truth is, it's not easy to learn, or it's like you can do it easily. It's hard to master. And you also have to watch the market regularly, simply because when people find something that's profitable, when other people do it, suddenly that profit goes down. So yeah, once you get the hang of learning to cook the things you can for profit, whether it's like going for contributions, is multi-purpose, silver and everything, cooking is very good. I think everyone should do it, and especially even if you are cooking just to do Imperial Delivery, get it to Guru 1 so you can do Imperial Delivery. I think it's worth it. Yeah. All right, so next we have trading. This is kind of an interesting one. So back in the day, there used to be a trading icon. Oh, actually, hold on. Yeah, there's trading. And so, hold on, let me... Okay, we're good. So trading, the way it works, you buy some trade materials from a town, and then you sell it to another town, and the profit was based on distance. Now, that kind of fell off a little bit. They kind of actually removed that from the game, because it was never, like, there was a point when it was actually pretty decent. Nowadays, it's like barely in the game, and the closest we have to trading is basically crafting crates and then doing trade-ins based on your like distance, and that's where profit comes in. So like that's why you see people crafting stuff in like Grana or Valencia and then turning it into Morning Light, so that's like farthest distance bonus. But also, you know, it's a very time-consuming thing. It's not really engaging to the point where you're just kind of doing it, and it's like one of those things where you do it maybe once every 5 months when you have a large pile, you dump it in for a large amount of silver. So the truth is, trading, I would put it in like a D tier, just because I would say that's the lowest one. Trading needs a rework. It does not compete with any other life skill right now. So we have royal workshops. You just set them and then forget about it, remember it 6 months later. turn in stuff and be like, oh, okay, free money. But it's not like an active one. It's not really fun. You just kind of set it and then check in again. So I think they need to rework for all this, make, you know, normal trading back a thing again, and also, you know, make it definitely profitable. So they took that out, like, I think a couple of years ago, and they forgot about it. All right, so next we have farming. So farming is one of those things that I think is unique in a way of like, it's something you do because you need to do it specifically. So let me show you in game what it looks like. So you guys know this temperature thing that I am pretty sure 99% of you guys have no idea, or like had no idea this existed. The humidity function and all of this, like the not territory resource, but like at least temperature and humidity. In theory, where you place your crops and grow your farm and everything would factor into how fast they grow and everything. Nowadays, I'm pretty sure that most people just set their farms in a random location, myself included, and then grow the crops they need. So if you're looking to min-max the XP, I'm pretty sure like there's a spreadsheet I remember, like Valencia plus like sunrise herbs or something. I don't remember. And then you like set them down because temperature or something is higher and whatever, humidity. So if you're looking to min-max, you might want to look up a spreadsheet for that. But the reason why we do farming, is farming is one of those things where, let me see if I have any extra byproducts to show you. One, you would get the materials that you need for either cooking or alchemy, that you grow the crops that you need for those life skills, right? Followed by the byproducts. So if you're going for any tier 9 horses, well, it's 2025, you just literally buy it these days. You could get the Stonetail fodder, or you get the special byproduct fertilizer, pepper seeds, whatever. I think most people who do farming, they turn it into contribution XP, which allows you to get more of this, allows you to do more imperial cooking or imperial delivery and everything. So it's kind of like, it's one of those side things that's not really profitable unless, like, you do make silver out of it, but it's not like you get the silver from farming. You get the materials and then you take it into cooking, or if you're horse breeding or something, training, and then that's where the profit comes in. So it's like a multi-step process. And that's where it comes in from. So with that said, back to the tier list. I think farming is kind of like, it's useful, but it's not like an engaging one, so I'd put it in C tier. Like, you do make silver, but it's not directly from farming. You're taking the materials and then doing like alchemy or cooking or horse training and so on. That's where the silver comes in from. Otherwise, it's just contribution XP. Set it, come back in every couple hours, and then reset your farms. That's why it's not a lot of silver. It's not really engaging. That's why I put it there. All right, so training. This is horse training. Catch a horse, breed it, level it up, turn it into a courser, make a tier 9, make a tier 10, sell it, and then that's where your profit comes in. So a couple of months ago, they actually buffed training. They also added the thing which is the infinite rope and the where is it? What is this thing? Infinite rope, luminous one, and the infinite sugar. Basically, you can use these infinitely, as I said, and then training, the higher your level is, the higher stats your horse can get from 1 to 30. But where is all the profit from, you're probably wondering. Training through wagons, the most amount of XP you can get is basically you catch horses, train them. Well, like once you register it, that's where your XP comes from. That's where the most of it is. And you just level them up. Or it is that trick with the donkey training by Calpheon or where, literally any town. Get them to level 3 and then stack your life skill buffs if you're trying to power level training. Admittedly, I will say training is not my strongest life skill, but I understand the entire concept of it. So yeah. That said, where would I put training? I think it's very profitable, but it's just one of those, it's an active one. So I would probably put horse training. How much? There's a lot of AFK in terms of this as well. It could be as AFK as you want, or I guess as little as you want. But most of the XP comes from leveling them up, either exchanging them, or, you know, I think if you're doing training, you're kind of like playing a different game from everyone else, more or less. So it is profitable. In terms of, do the horses sell? Horsers at tier 8 sell very easily. Tier 9s, tier 9s do sell, but it has to be like level 15 and up so people can Imperial delivery them for the treasure lantern thingy. I think what the treasure lantern does is, like, when you're, you know how when you're going from point A to B, right, you have durability on your wagon, right? I think the lantern prevents durability usage, so you can basically go 24/7 without it, which is actually very nice. That's a treasure item I plan on going for eventually, but, you know, it's really just, you really need to like training to do that. So anyway, profit is very good. It's not an easy one to get into because it requires a lot of startup up until getting like a wagon. Then you catch more horses and repeat. Wagons these days aren't that hard to get. I think you can just buy them off the market nowadays in 2025. But anyway, definitely a very good one. Not a beginner friendly one, but once you get the hang of it, it's very easy. Sailing. Okay, so sailing is exactly what you think it is. Start with a boat, just go sailing in the ocean, do sailing dailies, get your carrack, upgrade your gear. If you do sailing as your main life skill or the main thing you do in the game, doing a sailing is like playing a different game than everyone else. Like, everyone's grinding, you're grinding in the ocean. I remember when I was going for my first carrack, this was about like 5 years ago, back when it was not as easy to get. Basically, I was like, okay, so I'll divide my time doing sailing and then grinding. No, it didn't really turn out that way because you spend all your time in the ocean going for everything. Nowadays, it's a lot easier. You can just buy it. It doesn't even matter. But sailing is one of those things where you kind of just lock into sailing, and then when Blue Battlefield comes out, I think that'll be fun because that's boat PvP. So for all of you who got your Valor boats for that purpose, and then they added Naval Fame and just nuked that entirely, yeah, there's that. But Blue Battlefield has been delayed for 2 months. We haven't heard anything since then. I'm convinced that it's not coming out for a while. It's so sad because I was looking forward to boat PvP. That's why I got my Valor years ago. I would put sailing in B rank. It's not really profitable, but it's not bad. Like, it's B rank just because it's like a different thing from everyone else. Like, you know how there's grinders, PvPers, life skillers, and then just sailors. It's just like a different thing. You just play the game differently. That's why it's B. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just different. Okay, there's fishing. You know how a year ago they started buffing fishing and everyone just makes billions of silver overnight? It's S rank. Fishing is very good. So here's what I think. I think people should play the game during the day, and then if you leave your game on at night, just leave it to go fishing. You come back with maybe like 1 billion silver or 2. If you get lucky, even more. But yeah, I think the people who are fishing 24/7 are just burnt out of the game. It's like, yeah, fishing is good profit. You make billions, but like 24 hours of fishing is the equivalent of like maybe 1 to 2 hours of grinding in game. So it's like you're probably playing a different game while leaving your game fishing. That's cool. But like if you're just 24/7 fishing, like you're clearly burnt out of the game or something, or you're busy with life. So either way, it's good silver. Everyone should learn how to fish. And I have a guide video, I'll leave it in the description, on best ways to start fishing, what kind of artifacts, light stones, fishing rod differences, and like different spots to go fishing. All of that is in a few videos of mine. I'll leave it in the description. And yeah, fishing, there's not really much to say. If you very self-explanatory. You make a lot of silver. Now we have processing. Processing is, you know, when you get raw materials from fishing, well, not really fishing, but like gathering and everything, gathering, cooking, and, you know, I guess not really, like mostly just gathering. You turn it into different stuff. So to show you an example, let me show you what it looks like. Let's give you an example. Let's say you are, you just gather raw logs, right? You turn those logs into, let's call a log a tier 1 material, right? Because it's the one you gather, the most common thing. And then when you process it, you turn it into a tier 2 material, the scantlings. And then you turn those tier 2s into tier 3 ones. This goes for literally every sort of log, like plank into plywood. You either turn those into like items, like for example, horse gear, boats, or, you know, you just sell them for people, just whatever kind of crafting. So processing is one of those things where after you did your main life skill, you just process it and then turn it into something else. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's very easy to level up as well. That's why, you know, it's my highest life skill. It's followed by gathering, and then yeah, it's not really an engaging one. Is it profitable? The profit comes from like what you do with it, not necessarily processing raw materials and selling. So processing to sell it on the market directly is profit, yes, but you get the big profits by turning it into things that people use, like boats, horse gear, literally anything else. So I would consider processing in the B tier. It's really just an AFK activity. And then we have gathering. Gathering is the most beginner-friendly life skill that makes billions of silver, whether you sell it directly to the market, like the raw materials, or you obviously do, like, you turn the materials into cooking, alchemy, processing, and all that stuff. This is the most versatile one, and I would recommend it to beginners, just because there's a lot of different things. So there's like 6 different tools in the game, and I'll show you that real quickly. So gathering, I am Guru 38. This one is a time-gated one, but also like time-gated by energy, that is, and also the most like interactive one. So what does that mean? You gather the materials that you need. So for example, if you have your life tools, there's different ones. The ones that you do for profit are probably like fluid collecting, butchering, and I guess if you need the tools to like do cooking and alchemy, you do pickaxe. If you're going for XP, you gather herbs. If you're just gathering for processing, it's lumbering axe, maybe tanning. So it really just depends on what you are going for in terms of your goals, and that's what I would recommend. So with that said, I would put gathering in S tier. It makes a lot of silver whether you sell raw materials in the market or you turn it into something else. But that's how all the life skills are connected in terms of, you know, profit. So that's my life skill tier list video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Always open to feedback and everything. And here's what I'd recommend. If you're a new player, I would start with gathering, fishing. If you're like in, you know, you have a little bit of an investment. Let's say you have like 10 billion silver or something, and you're like, oh, I want to try a new life skill. I would try hunting, maybe invest into cooking a little bit. Maybe training. Training is kind of like, you have to like doing it to do it, but you could always invest in that one. And then sailing is kind of like playing a different game. And then there's everything else. So yeah, S tiers are definitely the most profitable ones in my opinion. Everything else, these are profitable, but with an investment. And then these are just kind of like some things you do when you have half an hour on the side, or sailing is just, I would put sailing in its own tier, completely honest. But yeah, everything else is kind of something that you're semi AFK, or you only do like once or twice a day, something like that. Trading doesn't even really exist anymore. It's royal workshops and crate exchanges. Hopefully they put this back in the game at some point where it's actually fun to do, but until then, it stays there. Anyway, that's my tier list for life skills. I kind of put them into different categories depending on what they would do, but this is more for silver and or also, you know, engagement and fun. And so that's about it. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic day. Peace.